There's a neighbor of mine, a playmate, we grew up together, next door. He was a year older than me. And he was starting kindergarten at St. Patrick's Grade School in Joliet. He didn't like it at all. He would cry on the way to school, cry at school, and then cry on the way home from school. So his mother was very frustrated, but had this idea to talk to my mom and see if she would let me start school a year early, just to go, kind of like a rescue dog. Give him a go. So, the nun said yes, my mom said yes, and I went to school to try and make a cover for him. Well, he cried on the way to school, cried all day at school, but I loved it. And the first person I met was a guy named Mike Condon. And even back then, at an early age, you could see that Mike had a kind heart. Now, Mike didn't stay too long at St. Pat's. He ended up going to St. Jude's. But he was one of 8 children, Pat and Norma Condon. Tremendous family. Pat was a Hilltopper graduate in 1943. All Mike's brothers and sisters of Mike, they went to Catholic High or St. Francis. It was the sacrifice that Pat and Norma made for their children. And the Condon name was a pillar in our community. And you can still see it today with the family, that the lessons they learned of service and generosity is still there for Joliet Catholic and in our community. So Mike went on to Joliet Catholic. Tremendous athlete. You know, today, everything's online. You see all the athletes, they do their own YouTubes and stuff. You know, we didn't have YouTubes when we played. But if you watched Mike play, he played basketball, baseball, football. What a great athlete. Tremendous athlete. He's probably more known for his baseball and football, and particularly football, where he won many awards. He was all conference, both varsity years as a running back, junior and senior year in 72 and 73. He was a honorable mention All-State his senior year. And he made the Chicago Sun-Times first all-area team, which is a major honor back then, and is today. And he only played 6 games. He had injured his knee and made a great. If he were playing today with the tournament now and playing 14 games, his stats would be remarkable. The beauty of Mike was the way he played the game. He was our version of Gale Sayers. He was poetry in motion. If anybody would ever seen old films of Gale Sayers, put a 22 on him in a brown jersey, and that's Mike Condon running for Joliet Catholic. Beautiful grace the way he ran. Great speed, but he was tough. He'd finish his runs. He would knock people over. He would get the extra yard. He was also a very good baseball player. He went on to Lewis after Joliet Catholic to play a couple of years with great Gordy Gillespie at Lewis. A tremendous baseball program they had there. But Mike had another calling. He wanted to help people, work with people. So he decided to transfer to Palmer College of Chiropractic, where he attained his doctorate and his chiropractic degree. Mike came back to the area and had a very successful practice in the Will County. And for 36 years, he's been making the lives of others better, giving them better quality of life. He married his lovely wife, Deb, and have 3 wonderful children, Kyle, Lindsay, and Katie, who were all graduates of JCA and great contributors to our fine school. One of the great things about meeting Mike when 4 years old, when I was asked to start school early, is that put me on track to be in the class of 74. With some of the greatest guys that have ever come through the hill, and some of the dearest friends, and many of them are here tonight to honor Mike. But when we think of Mike, there's great statistics, 19 touchdowns. Now we've had 99 years of football at Joliet Catholic. 2-point conversions, Mike's ranked 5th all time. 17. He has 148 total points, which puts him at 26 all time. Great athlete. But just like when you think about some of the great athletes in the past, you think about that moment, that game, the big game. We were playing Lockport our senior year. Lockport was one of the highest ranked teams in the state. Mike had just missed the middle 3 games, and he missed a third of the season with a severe knee injury. We didn't know if he's going to come back the senior year. So now we're getting ready to go to the athletic field at Lockport. Their defense is one of the top in the state. They're ranked in the top 10 total team. They have a player who's outstanding, quarterback and free safety. His name is Mike Zimmer. You may recognize the name. He's now the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. He wasn't the best Mike on the field back then. Mike ran for 240 yards, and he didn't play the second half. We beat him 46-7. It was one of the greatest performances I have ever seen, and I had a good view because I sat on the bench. So Mike, thank you and the guys for blowing him out, because Phil Tyrrell and I got in the game in the 4th quarter. It was amazing. It would be a YouTube sensation if you saw that game today. Now, I know statistics are important in sports, but there's no statistic that measures the impact one man can make on many. You know, in the late 80s and through the 90s, we had a pretty good basketball player that came to Chicago. He's pretty good, played for the Bulls. Matter of fact, he had a campaign where his slogan was, "Be like Mike." I returned to Joliet Catholic back in '97. And one of my goals was to teach my players what it meant to be a Hillman, how to do it the Catholic High way. There's a certain way you act on and off the field. There's a certain effort. That you represent this great school and represent all the men that came before you. To know their tradition. What I was asking them was to be like Mike. To be like Mike Condon. If they have a strong work ethic and were willing to give great effort, then they were like Mike. If they show love and respect for their parents, their brothers and sisters, and bringing honor to their family name, then they are like Mike. If they care about their teammates and those around them more than himself, then they are like Mike. If they're able to form many friendships and also inspire those friends to be better people, then they will be like Mike. If they marry the love of their life and raise a wonderful family, and that family becomes the center of their world, then they will be like Mike. If they are willing to meet any challenge with enthusiasm, and to fight through adversity, whether it's coming back from a severe knee injury or battling a horrible disease with courage and grace, then they will be like Mike. We should all strive to be like Mike Condon. He has given us an example of how to live. He has set a standard that we should all try to achieve as human beings and as God's children. Mike showed us that humility is a strength. Statistics cannot measure the impact one man can make on many. I can't think of anyone more deserving of this award than Mike Condon. And it is my privilege and honor to present to you the 2019 Reverend Paddy McGown Award to our bow-legged tailback from 74, Mike Condon.
There's the crier.
Wow. Did I do a good job picking my speaker for today? Jeepers. Thanks. Dan. Appreciate it. I didn't know I was a crier back in 3rd grade or 1st grade. I'm going to cry all along. I'll try and make it through this. Again, thanks, Dan, for your beautiful words. Unbelievable. I'm not necessarily sure that I deserve this award, but I do deserve picking Dan for my leads. Congratulations to all the other families. I'm thinking about sitting over here after. I have a lot of fun over here. But again, I picked Dan for, when I found out that I was going to have to pick the person that introduced me tonight, the first person that came to mind is Dan Sharp. I just think he's become such an awesome public speaker. He's such a great ambassador for JCA that it just directly popped in my head. I'm so glad that I did that. But why wouldn't Dan be a great ambassador, a great public speaker? He actually followed in the footsteps of Gordy Gillespie. I think everybody here knows Gordy Gillespie, and what a great coach he was, and what a great mentor. Not only winning state championships at football at JCA and at Lewis University, winning baseball championships, College of St. Francis winning baseball championships. Excuse me. More importantly, I have to tell you a quick story about Gordy. I went to his wake. He died a couple of years ago, and this is a repeat for some of the people that heard this story. I went to his wake a couple of years ago. When I was in line, obviously there was a long line. It looked like it was going to take forever to get through. And a guy right next to me was a guy named Jack Perconti, who played professional baseball for Seattle. This was years ago. He actually had a long career. And I went up to Jack Perconti, and I said, Jack, I don't remember you playing for Gordy Gillespie. And he said, Mike, you know, I didn't actually play for Gordy. I never did play on any of his teams, but I played in the intramural program at Joliet Catholic. And he said, I only talked to Gordy Gillespie maybe 1 or 2 times, but he said, the 1 or 2 times I did speak to him, he said, he was such a, he just made me feel so awesome, so good about myself. He made me feel like I was the only man on earth who was speaking to me. I am going to make it through this. Hold on to that. But it now reminds me of Dan Sharp. I just think Dan's followed in his footsteps. Through osmosis, he's picked up so much from Gordy Gillespie, being such a great man and a great coach that, congratulations. Dan, you're awesome. Again, congratulations on the other winners. It's just, I believe in the way that JCA picks their award winners. I don't know these people individually, but I'm sure they're unbelievable people. But I'm not only with Gordy Gillespie and Dan Sharp, not only those spectacular people, but I was surrounded through high school in sports with just unbelievable people. For instance, Mark Gould was our offensive guard. He coached at Geneva High School for years. He was a great coach and teacher, very successful. I have to thank him. Joe Haley, he was a defensive back for our team. He coached in the area for the last 35 years. He's coached, and he was a defensive back and a kicker for our team. Mark Mackey was offensive guard on our team. Just did a fantastic job. Went on to become a medical doctor. I was surrounded by these people with just great integrity, great character. Greg Reiser, excuse me, was our offensive tackle. Went to the University of Iowa, went on to be a medical doctor. It's a funny little story. When I was hurt as a senior in high school playing football, I went to Dr. Reiser first, a local doctor, and he examined me, and for the most part, he said, you know, Mike, any way you look at this, you're going to be out for 3 weeks. Well, we kind of were not happy with that diagnosis, so some of us went to a famous doctor with the Chicago Bears, and he said, I think I can get you back quicker. So I went through ultrasound, diet therapy, imaginal therapy, and guess how long it took me to get back?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Dr. Reiser, hit the nail on the head. Rich Nelson, our offensive center, he's a prominent attorney in the Chicagoland area. Barrett Long, a defensive back, he's also a prominent attorney in the Chicagoland area. I want to thank his dad, Bob Long, Barrett's father. He'll be 94 this week. He was instrumental in coaching me in basketball.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah, come on, sit up.
A couple of weeks ago, I think it was Ash Wednesday, we were at Mass at St. Jude's in Joliet. And we're walking out of Mass, and I ran into Mr. Long again. And I was diagnosed a year ago with lung cancer. And Mr. Long came up to me after Mass, and he hands me a card of St. Jude, the St. Jude. I thought he said he's a saint of healing. And he said, Mike, go ahead and take this. I think it'll help you with your healing. He said I used it all the time you went to the free throw line in grade school basketball. Bob Barney was a defensive back. He's a chemist with ChemLight in town here. Traveled the world around training with this method, I think. Anyway, Mike Oakes, defensive back, went on to become a CPA, probably running the company. Larry Lay, Mick Jenko, Bill Basie. Bill Basie has been on the board at JCA longer than any other board member in the history of JCA. Ed Capina's a running back. These are all guys that just supported me so well. You know, I kind of pictured myself as a, I don't know if you ever see those surfers. They're on the huge wave that they're riding. There's just a little speck there. That's how I feel like I was supported with all my teammates and friends at JCA. Dave Gorski, a running back. Along with Rick Irwin, not only were they successful, I played baseball with Rick Irwin, not only were they successful in their first career, but they've almost taken on another career in helping to serve the Catholic Church recently. Tim Nellis, a defensive lineman, probably 5'10", 170 pounds. Pound for pound, one of the toughest guys on our team. Maybe one of the smartest guys. Him along with Rich Nelson have not been married yet. Bill Meade, Bob Stevens I played baseball with. I played baseball at SMU, went on to become a medical doctor. Like I said, I've had this illness for a while, and Bob was instrumental, Bob was instrumental in helping me find the doctors that would help me along the best in the therapy. I appreciate it again, Bob. Bill Davis, a catcher on our baseball team. He's a professor with Ashford University. Ashford University is probably one of the quickest growing online universities in the country. He just received an award for the highest honors for teaching skills at the school. Dave Stangley, Paul Boetto, Jim Blackburn, Rick Shainstead, who's a judge in town. These are all guys with great integrity, just great character, that helped me through school. In fact, Rick Shainstead saved me from a speeding ticket 20 years ago. That's not true. I don't want to get him in trouble. Brian Carney, a classmate of mine, probably since high school, he's been battling 3 chronic illnesses, and even on disability, he was able to get his daughter through college recently. Pat Rubber, a defensive back, Bill Gable, Gary Healy, Jeff Thompson. Actually, 3 of these guys just passed away recently from our class of '74. Jeff Thompson probably did more for the community than anyone in the last 10 years in the Joliet area. I want to acknowledge these coaches. They were just phenomenal at Joliet. Dale O'Connell, Tony Jantz, Chris Ward, Roger Gifford, Jim Borello, Jack Szymanski, Bobby Gillespie. They just really cared about the student athlete. I want to acknowledge and thank some of the Carmelites at the time in 1974, Father Dave Simpson,
got it. Uncle.
Bring her home, Mikey.
Oh,
Bring her home.
We can do it.
Come on, be like Mike.
They're the greatest, aren't they? Father Dave Simpson, my classmates had a healing mass for me a couple months ago. Father Dave Simpson drove from Kansas City, excuse me, to the Joliet area. Talk about somebody who walks their talk. Huh? Father Bob Calarisi, Father Jan Kamucha, these were all Carmelites at the time. Help me through. Dan, could you come up here and walk me through this? I want to acknowledge my siblings. Again, with my illness, I've received so many emails, letters, calls, texts, just encouraging me to be strong. My brother Brian, Peg, Jane, her friend Dick Hunkler has been instrumental, and he's a doctor and also has given me so much information on making it through this illness. Kay, Karen, John, Kathy, my siblings. Karen and John have been online looking up stuff for me, just made it so easy for me. There's no way I would be able to whip through this so easily. Okay, and finally, my family, my children, Kyle, Katie, and Lindsay, they have never been any problem to us. They graduate from JCA. My wife might not say that they haven't been a problem, but they they actually, about 4 weeks ago, we had an intervention where they came and they helped me. I was following some of the medical protocol, but they wanted me to maybe be a little bit more holistic and follow some other things that I could do at home to help my illness. And even they suggested cannabis for medicinal purposes. Finally, I want to thank Deb, my wife.
It's true.
I don't know anyone who devotes so much time, so much time to helping other people, 24/7, 365 days a year. She's thinking about helping other people. She's a physical therapist. She helps her patients both on the hours that she's working and off hours. She helps the kids all the time. She helps my family, her family, people. She's part of a euchre group, and she helps all the women in the euchre group constantly. So,
Yeah, Deb! Woo!
so thank you so much. I appreciate everybody coming out, especially my teammates from class of '74. Can you guys stand up, please?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.